Good morning, good morning. I couldn't really sleep last night, or I slept too early and just couldn't go back to sleep. So I went to the gym early, got that done. Did an hour on the treadmill, so that was good. But everything synced up, and I went to Circle K afterwards to get like a coffee. And things synced up where I saw my old boss, because y'all know earlier this year I was working at Circle K. I think that was like, man, maybe like June? Maybe June. Maybe, yeah, maybe June. What's before June? May. So yeah, probably like May, June. Anyways, and that's where I tripped over my dog and I got hurt, and that shit still hurts, but it's a lot better since I've been working out, of course, too. But anyways, I saw my old boss and we started talking, and she was like, I was just like, yo, what's going on? Everything all right, good? And she was like, yeah, but I've switched out so many people, since you've been here. Like it's a whole new crew. Like she's like, I'm like the only one left from like quote unquote the original crew, because she's the manager, right? She's been the manager. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Like even the lady that was my assistant manager, like she left. And I'm like, okay, that's some wild shit, but all right. So talking with her, she said, man, I don't know what it is, but your generation just doesn't want to work. And the numbers don't always bear that out, but I know what she meant. And I said, it's like, yeah, the number doesn't bear it out, but I see what you're saying. And then I kind of, not in a sense corrected her, but just changed the scope of it. And I said, you're right. What happens is they don't want to work jobs like this because they think it's beneath them. And my whole point of this video is a lot of motherfuckers think just work, certain types of work is beneath them. Now, this is true. I was talking to a brother in the space, and after a while, like certain things are just like you just can't go back to, right? And not that you can't, but usually you're in circumstances, you have skills that you just shouldn't have to really go back to them, right? So for instance, I used to work at liquor stores, cleaning floors, bathrooms, all types of shit, and I don't have to go back to that. Like I can if I want to. Like again, I worked at Circle K even while having a 6-figure job during the day. And that was because I couldn't find like quote unquote better work or whatever, or higher paying job or a secondary job like a night gig or something. So I took that job as kind of like the last ditch effort, last thing I could do, last thing on my list. And I just wanted to get some extra money to get ahead and stay ahead. Thankfully, I'm a lot better off now. Everything's going a lot better. Hopefully we can continue this. But I was willing to sweep floors, count cigarettes, deal with customers, deal with gas, sales, and whatever else. Regular customers, people that are meth heads, and all manner of people that come in there. The good, the very good, and then, the bad, and then the downright ugly. So you start to see a lot with that, and the only thing I miss about that job is just the exposure to the local people, talking with everyone and all that. But if I could do it without like quote unquote taking up my time, or do it whenever I wanted to type deal, because the lady was like, yo, listen, even if you just work one day a week, I'll be okay with that. And I was like, damn. But that's just how bad they need people. And I'm seeing the same thing in higher levels, like being a part of the hiring process and all that stuff. Like there's just a lot of there's just a big void there, and we need a lot of engineers in the tech space. A lot of engineers are needed. Even with the layoffs and everything, a lot of engineers are still needed. So talking with her, and she was like, and I corrected the scope or changed the scope a little bit, and said a lot of people don't want to do this work because they feel entitled, or they feel that they should be doing higher work, or work that is quote unquote more important, right? And that's a bit of where the entitlement comes in, because you think you should be doing more, you think you should be doing greater in a sense. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but you're not, And I told her, I was like, a lot of people, like when you work a 6-figure job and you talk to engineers that are making 6 figures, these guys are micromanaging themselves. Like you just say, hey, do task and complete task. That's really it. Like you're not doing all this, following behind them and following up, and if you have to do that, you might correct them because it's kind of out of the behavior of a person of said station or engineering station, whether it be systems engineering, architecting, development work, what have you, right? Like, you do that maybe with a guy that works tickets or something like that, you know, you manage him, because they're not managing themselves in a sense in terms of the discipline, right? Like, they don't know what they need to do. They're not looking at themselves in some cases, or they can do the work, but sometimes you have to push them to do it. She started talking about this one young lady that worked there, and after a while, like, this lady, you know, she was doing like, I think 3 days in a row, no call, no show. And then she actually, you know, she wasn't trying to fire her because she needs people. And of course, probably the girl knows this too. But she calls her, the manager calls this worker and says, "What's going on? Like, what's happening?" "Well, I got a lot going on right now," and all types of other stuff. And I was like, okay. I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, you got a lot going on. Like, I feel you, but you don't call, you don't say nothing. And on the other side of that, I see, you know, I've seen coworkers where, you know, I see them do things like, hey, listen, I gotta take this person to the hospital, letting the entire chat know, maybe giving up too much information in some cases, at least saying, hey, I'm gonna be doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm out, and all this other stuff, right? Or putting it on their calendar as a personal appointment or something like that. So it's like you see that level of not just discipline, but you see that level of communication. And then you start to see what happens with people with lower paying jobs. People with lower paying jobs, sadly enough, like, and I know this is really fucked up to say, they're there because that's where they belong. Like, it took me a while to realize this shit, you know. I mean, like, or even put it in this context, like, I've realized that a while back, like, people are where they are because they want to be there. Like, I have a saying, a lot of people don't want to admit that they're getting everything that they want out of life. And the reason why I say it like that is because if you have to admit that you're getting everything that you want out of life, and you look at what you have and you say, damn, is this what I really want? And then you have to ask yourself that question. Your actions answer it by saying yes, because you don't do more. You don't read more. You don't study. You don't read more, or, you know, do your studies. You're not disciplined with your money, and so on and so forth. Or even if you're like me, where you're not always that disciplined. You know, always that disciplined. But I have to, for me to do what I do in terms of my spending habits, I have to outwork my spending habits. Like, I have to do a shit ton of fucking work to keep up with my spending habits, and then outpace it. And that's usually what I do, is I just outpace it. It's not that I'm, in a sense, more disciplined, and I can admit that. Like, I want what I fucking want. Like, you know, I have no problem with that. And I have no problem working for what I want. And that's, like, kind of the difference with certain people. Is like, where you see them and they're in, like, situations where they're working. For instance, like I was saying with this young lady, she is where she is because that's where she should be. Like, that's where she wants to be. Her actions say she should be right where she's at, working at Circle K second shift. Like, she's supposed to be there because she doesn't do anything else that warrants her to be anywhere else. And when you start to, like, really admit that, right? Like, you know, past the prosperity gospel, past the manifestation talk, past the motivational speeches and all this other shit that's going on, past the courses, the classes, the masterminds, and all this other shit that people try to have you invest, or invest in yourself, or buy their course, buy their material, and it's just kind of fluff. Past all of that, you have to want these fucking things. You have to want to be of that mindset. You have to want to be that type of person, so to speak, right? Like, not just buying the course, but actually wanting to be and executing on that type of ideal, that thought process. And if you're not doing that, then you're really going to be in a bad shape. You're going to be in a bad position, because of the simple fact is that those that are, I don't want to make this sound like, you know, like some type of like deep saying, but those that are want to be, you know, like those that are a CEO want to be a CEO. Those that are, you know, making certain amounts of money want to make those certain amount of money, like that certain level of money. You know, they have to get up every day. Like, I was talking to, again, the manager, and I said, ma'am, for me to make what I make and do the stuff that I do in terms of working and all, like, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, people ain't doing that. She wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning. She goes to bed at like 7, she says. And then she wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning because, you know, she starts pretty much at 5 or so, right? She comes in a little bit earlier and everything else like that. She's a hardworking fucking lady. And then, of course, she covers for other people's shift and shit like that. But it's wild, man. You know, a lot of people don't, like, a lot of people look at certain things as beneath them. You know, in Jamaica we have a saying, or in Patois we have a saying, what is it? When trouble take you, a pit and shut fit you. Meaning, like, when a problem hits, you'll even go down to wearing your kid's clothes, just to cover and clothe yourself. You know, like, the stuff that you wouldn't think that you would wear, the things that you wouldn't think that you would do. There's a lot of people that probably never thought they'd be doing OnlyFans, but they out there busting it wide open. You know, there's a lot of people that don't think they would be doing illegal things or drugs, or selling drugs and all types of other stuff, but they're doing it. They're out here slanging that rock, you know? And, the biggest thing that I would say, because I'm like starting to feel a little bit tired, so I'm gonna try and get some work done before I really go to sleep. But the biggest thing I would say is, if you're gonna be like, if you're gonna stay at a higher level, you have to do the things to ensure that you never go to the lower levels. That means either you're gonna have to be financially disciplined with the money that you have. You're gonna have to make more money. You're gonna have to budget yourself. And there's two ways to make money. You either budget yourself and cut off certain expenses, or you just do more work or have a higher paying gig or something like that, right? You increase your income. So either you decrease your expenses or you increase your income. I'm more of the increase the income person. Because, you know, I want the trainers, I want all this other stuff, you know, that comes with it. So, you know, you're going to have to do those things to ensure that you never reach a certain level. Like, you know, I'm really knocking on the door. I've paid off probably about 22 grand. Yeah, about 22 grand worth of debt. Really, really happy, proud of that. Paid off, 22 grand worth of debt in a short period of time. And I got probably about another 20 grand, and pretty much by the end of November, if everything works out, I'll be able to clear all that off, you know, and then all I'll have is my truck and my house payment. And I've talked about that before. I reiterate that because that is my main focus. That is like, that's gonna happen. That's not just manifestation. That's not motivation, or not just motivation, not just gospel or prosperity gospel. Like, you could do anything. Shaka Bashindo, untie the bow tie, retie the bow tie. You know, like all that stuff. Or you can't do it because you are holding yourself back. You know, that type of shit. Yeah, the fucking, you know, the emotional music in the background, or the music that's motivating, the motivational music in the background and shit like that, and all this other shit, you know, that you always see on those motivational reels on motivational videos on YouTube and shit like that. Some people will watch that shit like every morning, you know. Or the guy on Instagram. I don't miss Instagram a lot, but that one guy who's a comedian, he's like, it's fucking Monday. You should be out here fucking skulls and ripping off fucking wigs. I'm like, what the fuck? God dang. You should be scalping motherfuckers. Yeah. Tell them it's fucking Monday. And you just tell them that by shitting in their mouth and taking their sales. Like, whoa. Fuck, are we in Dubai? So, it's not just that, man. It's really wanting these things. Really pushing yourself towards it. I want a gazebo. I want, like, you know, I want furniture in said gazebo. I want electricity out to that gazebo. I want all these fucking things. And I'm willing to work for it. I'm willing to do the hard things, the hard work, do the meetings, you know, do the hiring process, deal with people that I don't like, deal with things that I don't want to do, so on and so forth. I'm here to do all that shit. because I want what I want. Anyways, with that being said, thank you as always for listening. Love you all. I wish you guys all the best throughout the day and throughout your rest of your life and your days. And one of the biggest things you want to do is make sure that you never go back down to where you were before. Alrighty, peace.